Hi, this is Tim, and we're going to do a study today on angels versus unclean spirits. Unclean spirits, also known as devils and demons, though the word demon does not appear in the Bible. But we're going to look at the characteristics and nature and hopefully origins of some of these. And we're going to start out in the book of Job, chapter 38, the book of Job 38. And hopefully everything will work now. We've had some technical difficulties today with YouTube. But anyway, so we want Job 38. And we'll pick it up in verse 1 when I get there. Job 38:1. And we'll read on down here. This is the Lord dealing with Job after everything's gone on in his life. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? So this is the original creation of the earth. Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who hath laid the cornerstone thereof? This is the foundation of the earth, original creation, Genesis 1:1. When, verse 7, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. I'll have you notice there that the phrase sons of God shows up there in Job 38. Then it's going to show up in Genesis chapter 6. We're going to go over there. Now, the sons of God there in Job 38 are the same ones in Genesis chapter 6. There is no New Testament believer anywhere that can become the sons of God because they haven't even been born yet. Christ hasn't come and shed his blood yet. Nobody's believing on Christ to become a son of God here. This is some other being. This is not a New Testament Christian. This is not an Old Testament saint. None of them could become the sons of God. Christ hadn't died yet. They couldn't believe on his name. Don't tell me they could. All right, Genesis 6:1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took unto them wives, all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, that his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare them and bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Okay, I want you to notice that giants were produced from the union of the sons of God and the daughters of men. If you think that's a godly line of Seth, tell me when a believer married an unbeliever and they produced a race of giants. Didn't happen. Doesn't happen today. Didn't happen then. These are called the sons of God. They come from God. They don't come from men. All right. Go back to Genesis 5. We'll go back one chapter. We're going to look at Adam, Genesis 5:1. I want to root out the godly line of Seth right now. I'm going to show you how it's done. Verse 1, this is the book of the generations of Adam. In that day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. That's Adam. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his, whose likeness? Not God's. Adam lived. Adam's the subject of the sentence here. Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness. That's Adam's likeness, after his image. That's Adam's image, and called his name Seth. Now, the point is this. When Adam does this, Cain and Abel have already been born. Before that, Adam had already sinned. So just seeing that this is the likeness of Adam, and the image of Adam is in Seth, and that is a sinful likeness and a sinful image. There is no godly line of Seth. So I want to make that clear. Okay, let's get back to Genesis 6. And we read these sons of God came down, entered the daughters of men, impregnated them. They bear giants. All right, bear children to them. These are called giants. And at the top of the verse 4. All right, let's go over to the book of Jude. The book of Jude, and we're going to look at a couple things there. Jude is right before Revelation. It's got one whole chapter to it. We're going to look at several things in here. All right, look down at verse 6. and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation. Their habitation was in heaven. He hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner. But this is what's going on here. Story referring to the angels giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh are set forth an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. All right. So I want you to catch that there, that these angels didn't keep their first estate. They went after strange flesh, which would be the flesh of women. I want you to notice something about angels all throughout the Bible. One thing is that they eat food. You find that in the book of Genesis, where they come upon Abram and Sarah in the plains of Mamre. The Lord shows up with two of them before he goes to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. There's your reference right here in verse 7. But I'll have you know that Abraham had Sarah make dinner for him, and they ate. There's a siren down the street. And these angels are very physical. They eat. They can grab a hold of men. They grabbed a hold of Lot, pulled him inside the house when they got down there to Sodom, and they let him out of the city by hand. They had to put their hands on him and bring him out. You'll notice that in the book of Exodus, the Lord rained down manna from heaven, and it's called angels' food in Psalm 78. So I want you to see that angels are not only a ministering spirit, because everybody refer to that, but people forget that they eat food, and they have physical bodies. So you find an angel in the book of John comes down, troubles the waters. So these are physical and spiritual, just like a person is. You're a body, you're a soul, and you're a spirit. And don't forget that angels are just like that as well. But this group, they're in one place they're called watchers, another place they're called sons of God, another place they're called angels. Just different names for the same group. There might be different categories of archangels and this and that, but they're heavenly beings. They're not from earth. They were before the earth was made, and men are from earth. So you mix up the seeds, there you go. And turn over to 1 Corinthians 7. 1 Corinthians 7. Show you something there. We're going to figure out what the clean and the unclean is here. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And we'll pick it up about verse 13, I believe, once I get there. And and the woman which hath not, and the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean. All right. If you have two non-believers, then their children are unclean. And definitely in the case when you mix angels and sinful women, you'll have something unclean. Now I'm going to refer you to the book of, let's go back to Jude. We were just there, but we'll go right back to that. I want to look at something in there. There's a guy named Enoch, and we want Jude 14. Jude 14, again, right before Revelation. And Jude 14. And here's the quote, because Jude quotes Enoch. He says this, Jude 14, and Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Now I'm going to read you from the book of Enoch. Book of Enoch. Now it's not in your Bible, but there's some stuff in there, and Jude references this very verse. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. So that's where he gets that. Now, put your hand back in Genesis 6, and I'm going to read you from Enoch 6. Genesis 6, 1. I'm going to read you from Enoch 6:1. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters, and the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, "Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and begot us children." And chapter 7:1, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms, enchantments, and all these things. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. They became cannibals. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. And that's what you got going on there. Now, God wipes them all out with the flood. And Enoch covers a lot of stuff in there that is not covered in Genesis. And I want to pick this up. Let's see here. Hold on. I think in chapter 15. This is Enoch 15, if you care to look down in verse 8. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Notice they don't go to hell. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers as their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. And they take no food. But angels have food, right? But nevertheless, hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. In chapter 16, from the days of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits, having gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated. And so there is a day of judgment coming to these evil spirits, but it's not yet. And when you notice about Jesus, he talks... he's dealing with some unclean spirits, and says, "Art thou come to destroy us before the judgment?" And so they know there's judgment. They know who Jesus is. And these aren't fallen angels. There's a war in heaven where Michael and his angels fight against the devil and his angels in Revelation chapter 12. This is probably around the birth of Christ. They're cast to the earth. But there's evil spirits before that, obviously, that are contained to the earth. And just wanted you to see that this is a product of angelic seed and human seed. And obviously there's not a marriage I know of, and I don't think anybody's ever heard of, a non-believer marrying a believer and producing giants. It doesn't happen, okay? So no godly line of Seth, but you get kind of a little idea of where the evil or unclean spirits or devils come from. And let you know this part 2 is coming along in just a moment for you. Thank you for joining me. My original stream was cut short by a technical glitch, and I will leave you now with part 2 coming up.